Greetings, my name is Brene Bradley and welcome to my video series, Food for Thought. Today we're going to talk about why go to church. Now that's a question we hear about a lot. There's a lot of discussion with Christians and people just wanting to have a reason why they go to church. A couple of days ago I went to a store and I was doing some shopping and I asked one of the clerks for some assistance and he helped me to find the items I was looking for. But in the midst of all that we were having a discussion and he asked me out of almost the clear blue sky, do I go to church? Well, I answered him, I said yes. Then I asked him if he went to church and his answer was no, not really. It's not that I don't believe in God, it's just that I don't believe in going to church. And so we had a conversation about that and I shared some of my reasons for going to church, and I thought it would be good to just kind of think about that and share my reasons for going to church, which some of them will be probably quite evident and others may not be. So the first reason that I have for going to church is that it helps me to focus on a godly perspective about things. So we live in a world where there's a whole lot going on. I mean, from what's going on politically, what's going on economically, and we're always hearing about the negative things. We're always hearing about somebody trying to get over the next person. And really for me, I just want to try to keep a good perspective. And going to church helps me do that. Hearing a good message helps me to stay grounded. So for me, that's very important. Now, yes, you can watch some really good speakers, good ministers on television, but there's nothing like being there in person. You might just think about going to a football game if you like football or basketball, or even to a concert. Sure, you can listen to the radio and hear the songs. You can even buy a DVD or download the music, but there's nothing like being there in the room when it's going on. It's the same thing about church for me. I like to be in the space, in the room, so my focus, my energy can all be uplifted and encouraged by the word that I hear. I'm also very inspired by the Word of God, but also provoked by the Word of God to actually study it for myself. I may hear something that I hadn't thought about before, I didn't remember hearing about, and it prompts me to go and read and study the Word for myself. Now, a lot of people can say, well, I do that on my own. And that's really good if you really do on your own. But me, I like to be prompted. I like to sometimes be encouraged to do those things because to be honest with you, I get busy. I get tied up in the day. I work 8, 9, 10 hours a day sometimes. And when I come home, I am just wiped out. So on my weekend, to get charged up, to get my motor tuned up by going to church, my emotional and spiritual motor tuned up to go to church is what really works for me. Another thing is the extended family, the people that I go to church with, people of like mind. I actually relocated from the West Coast to the South a number of years ago, and all my family is basically on the West Coast except for a couple of cousins, and it really has been important to me to have an extended family of people of like mind. In some cases, your people in your church may even be more of like mind than your own blood relatives in some cases. Very helpful in my mind to have people that I can discuss things with if I'm having a problem, and we can be coming from the same perspective. And that is very important, to have people encourage you with the Word of God so that it's not just their opinion, my opinion, but it's really based in something. I also use my extended family in the church as my social network as well. Doing things that we like to do together, like-minded things, going to movies, going to concerts, going out to dinner. We don't just sit in church all the time, but it does give you some people that you can kind of hang out with and just have a good, encouraging relationship with other people that believe what you believe and strive for what you strive for. And one of the things that people may not really think about when you think about why do I go to church, why do I belong to a church? Well, there's a whole lot of things that I care about. There are different ministries that I care about. There are different causes that I really care about. I care about women and children that are in sex trafficking, slavery, so to speak, to eradicate that. I care about homelessness. I care about young people and students that don't have all of the supplies that they need for school. So I I put my little bit of money with the other money from the people in my church, and together we leverage that money to really be able to do something that is positive. So, and then finally, the reason why I go to church is really out of obedience. The Word of God says that we should not forsake coming together. And so for me, it's not just what I get out of it personally, but I like to be in what I consider in line with what the scriptures say. And just to read that for you, in Hebrews 10 and 20, we'll start at 23. It says, "And let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much more as we see the day approaching." And so those were just some of the reasons why I go to church. Maybe that will help you reflect on, should you go? Where do I go? Is it important to go? And you can just kind of think about it, pray about it. Those were my food for thoughts for today. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you another time. Take care. God bless.